Right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a whole bunch of good news stuff for you today, and the first thing that I want to talk about is Cryptopia Exchange Liquidator's open process for creditor claims. So sooner or later, people are going to get paid back, maybe. So Cryptopia, the now defunct New Zealand exchange, just released the first of a series of reports based on the discoveries of the liquidators from Grant Thornton, New Zealand. For now, the liquidators have only set a tentative number on the potential demand of creditors, expecting claims to increase in the near future. The liquidators have pointed to a list of secured creditors, including the employees of Cryptopia. The former staff has claims to $320,000 in salaries, with additional claims from counterparties offering web-based services and security to Cryptopia, which honestly probably shouldn't be paid because those security. But either way, it's probably not that particular security. So I guess first and foremost, the employees of Cryptopia before you get yours back, but fair enough, I guess. The report also mentions unsecured creditors, potentially traders, which have a rough estimate of 2.4 million in claims, but the firm expects a larger total for all claims, as the first report also has a creditor claims form. The Cryptopia hack took away crypto assets valued around 16 to 17 million, mostly affecting Ethereum and a handful of relatively unknown coins and tokens, which is what Cryptopia was kind of best for. You got something that's totally random, go on Cryptopia and then sell it. But it was mostly Ethereum and their ERC20 wallet, so virtually all the ERC20 tokens and Ethereum were taken. And for a short time, Cryptopia opened up withdrawals for Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Doge, interestingly, but closed again for maintenance at the end of April. And I know somebody who had some Tether on Cryptopia but was unable to actually withdraw that, so they're sort of out on that. Soon after that, Cryptopia announced its closing for a liquidation procedure, also demanding a US-based bankruptcy. Cryptopia is fighting to preserve, I can talk, I promise, its trading database, the only record of ownership of traders that held digital assets in the exchange's wallets. The liquidators have promised to look into the database to produce data on traders' balances. So by this article, it's pretty clear that, you know, first and foremost, it's the staff and web-based services and security for Cryptopia, which again is just totally ironic because they considering how badly they got hacked. And it's just like, we'll look into the traders' balances. So if you were unable to get your balances off of there, now you can't. If it was Bitcoin or Litecoin, which was not affected by the hack whatsoever. The problem was that people were still putting more Ethereum and things like that onto Cryptopia after the hack, so it was pretty clear that people were maybe mining directly to Cryptopia. That was maybe like automated payouts from their pools that would go directly to Cryptopia, and those hackers were taking those as well. And everybody was saying don't keep mining to Cryptopia, but of course there's a lot of people that still do that. I don't know why you would mine directly to an exchange anyway, but apparently a lot of people do that. So at the moment, not looking too good for Cryptopia traders to get their funds back. But moving on. So moving on to some shill time. Shill time, everybody. I have a link. It's in the description below. It's going to be in the pinned comment below as well. It is my shill link to Coinbase Earn. Would you like to earn $10 in Stellar? You probably would. Now, it's only open to the first 4 people that actually do this. So if you have a Coinbase account, why not? So what you do is you take the link and you will do these videos. You watch the video. They're like 1 to 3 minutes long, and then you answer a question afterward. In fact, you can actually answer the question pretty much right away after watching the video for about 10 seconds, and they're mind-bogglingly easy questions, and you can make a total of $10 worth of Stellar, and you might think to yourself, hey, MrSotko, I don't like Stellar. Well, fair enough, but you could always transfer it to Bitcoin or to Litecoin or Ethereum. Kind of a free $10 in Stellar. Why not? But moving on to actual real news. Pulling the plug, top crypto mixer voluntarily shuts down. So crypto mixers, in case you'd never heard of them, you put your crypto into it, mixes it with a bunch of other people when you've done illegal stuff, and then it comes back anonymous. Yay! For most people, probably would never need to use one. Lending crypto mixing service Bitcoin Blender has voluntarily ceased operations, making it the second Bitcoin mixer to shut down in less than 2 weeks. So it kind of seems voluntary, but they probably wasn't quite voluntary. It looks like the governments of the world are probably cracking down on these, because it does make it very hard in case you did something wrong with your crypto and are using it for some nefarious purpose. So while the message appeared on Bitcoin Mixer's Tor's website, as well as an alternate ClearNet website, many users were unaware of the service's impending shutdown. Bitcoin Blender also announced its closure on the Bitcoin Talk forum, but it appears quite a few users were unable to withdraw their funds in time. One customer posted, "I still had funds on account on Blender. I was on holiday and just saw it now. Please help." I don't know why you would ever keep your funds on a Blender website. Like, it just seems like the sort of thing that you would put on there, blend it, and then get it back very quickly, and then put it back to wherever it was, your wallet or whatever. But apparently people are getting wrecked. The service did come back online for a short time on May 30th, posting on Bitcoin Talk that it was in the process of wiping servers, but brought it online now, and it'll be on for a few hours. As of now, it appears that users who still had crypto on the service are completely out of luck. Trust me, they ain't gonna wipe that crypto off the servers. You guys know what I mean? You know what I mean? Nudge, nudge, say no more. They ain't gonna wipe that crypto, you know what I mean? They're gonna be putting that up in their pocket, you know what I'm saying? So they got that. So yeah, don't keep your crypto on a blending service. You'd be better off on an exchange than a blending service. It just makes, people, it's real money that you're working with. Secure it. So in operation since 2014, Bitcoin Blender was considered one of the top mixing services. It offered users a way to ensure anonymity of their cryptocurrency ownership by mixing it with other people's crypto or converting the funds into another form of cryptocurrency. And on the website, the service declares that it is a Tor hidden service that uses smart technology to erase your Bitcoin history and make your transactions 100% anonymous. Absolutely great for just about everybody in cryptocurrency, right? The platform had websites on both Tor and ClearNet, and no official reason has been given for the mixer's decision to call it quits. The site had been successfully running for 5 years, earning a commission from 1% to 3% for their tumbling work. However, law enforcement has taken a dim view of cryptocurrency mixers lately, viewing them as money laundering instrument for criminals, which, again, I don't mean to, like, agree with that and be one of those old men, cryptocurrencies for terrorists and for criminals, but kinda, I mean, why else would you really need to mix it that much and then spend 1% to 3% for doing that? Unless you were just so worried. I don't know. Maybe to get away from taxes? I don't know. However, law enforcement has taken a dim view of the cryptocurrency mixers, and one of them has already been shut down. bestmixer.io. This service has been seized. The multi-million euro cryptocurrency laundering service bestmixer.io, considered one of the 3 largest in the world, was taken down by FIOD with support from at McAfee and in close cooperation with police, Lux, and Europol. So yeah, they don't like it. Governments definitely don't like these. So if you have your crypto on any kind of mixer, get it off there like really fast, because that's going to go under. So moving on, Coinbase adds support for EOS cryptocurrency on the retail site and on apps. So now you can put my MrSotko's absolute favorite coin, EOS, on Coinbase. And in fact, Coinbase has a earn thing going on right now as well, kind of like the Stellar link that I have for you. And I don't have a link for the EOS, but certain people can earn free EOS as well. So like $10 in EOS as well. So fair enough. I mean, right, for like basically clicking on like 5 things and answering some super simple question, $10, and then transfer it to Litecoin or keep it or Bitcoin, something like that, whatever. Coinbase has added support for EOS for its retail customers. The exchange announced in a blog post on May 30th that the option would be available on Coinbase.com and its Android and iOS apps, allowing users to buy, sell, convert, send, receive, and just store EOS. Oh man, so many options. The token was added to its Pro platform back in April, however. While EOS option is now available for customers in most of Coinbase's served jurisdictions, the UK and the US state of New York are not included initially. New York, man, New York is so bad. Like if you want to trade crypto or anything, or oh man, New York is the absolute worst state for it. But interestingly enough, it might have a little effect on the price, being able to be stored on there now at the very least. And, always good. And it seems a little too late, but at least they're doing it now. Coinbase, I think Coinbase's main issue, especially back in the day, especially like 2017, early 2018, is it just didn't have enough coins. They only had 4 options: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash for a while, which again is like some of the 4 best options, except for Bitcoin Cash in my opinion, but some of the best options at the very least. And now they're starting to add more. So people were complaining a while back that they don't have enough coins, which I totally agree with. They could have made a lot more revenue, especially during that big bull run. But they have to wait for so much regulatory action because they operate in the U.S. And now it's almost too little too late for them, but good for them for finally getting on that and adding more coins. So Bitcoin to zero. Bitcoin price flash crashes a 99% on BTC to, what is that, Canadian dollars? Trading pair. So this is actually kind of interesting. So Bitcoin is going to zero. We've all heard the repeated doom and gloom predictions from pundits and critics of digital assets. As recently as last week, the New York Post published an article that was barely a few sentences of useless counter arguments against Bitcoin, asserted the cryptocurrency would soon reach zero, which is basically impossible because like you just can't sell all of it. I mean, it could go like really close to zero, but impossible. But have you ever watched Bitcoin almost hit zero right before your eyes? That's what happened overnight last night on Kraken, cryptocurrency exchange, during trading sessions of BTC CAD pair. So as you can see here, it was trading something like 11,000, like I think it was Canadian dollars, yes. And then, oh my God, it went down to like $100. That is the longest candle I have ever seen. You can barely see it because it's on TradingView right here, but my mouse, the entire length here is one long red candle. So somebody must have sold literally all of the currency. The problem is that once you start selling like that, market selling, as you can see, it's actually going down in value. So like as this person is selling all of this coin, for the first few Bitcoin or so, they did get the maximum amount, the current market amount. But then as more and more got sold, there's some for 7,500 and then 5,000, then 2,500, and then just hundreds of dollars for Bitcoin. So they got nowhere near what they would have wanted to get. So I don't know why anybody would do this. Nobody in their right mind that was even remotely intelligent would sell all of their Bitcoin at once on one exchange like this. Normally you would probably want to go on different ones, like sell some on Binance or sell some on Kraken, some on on Coinbase at the very least, anything with at least fiat, which like Binance doesn't, but at least you'd want to spread it out on like Coinbase and or maybe they could only access Kraken. I don't know. Very interesting. So during the flash crash, the price of Bitcoin in Canadian dollars fell from its trading range of around 11,250 to a low of $101. So clever Kraken traders with orders at $100 were missed just by over $1 before the price of the cryptocurrency rocketed back into the range, leaving the longest wick this writer has ever witnessed on the price chart of the writer of the article, which I agree. This is the longest, literally the longest wick. I don't even know if you can get longer than that, to be totally honest. I know Ethereum years and years ago, I think it was like 2014, flash crashed to like $1 really fast. Like somebody sold like all of it at once. But that's it. This is quite impressive indeed. So I like this. That if you did have $100 order for Bitcoin, thinking you're smart and that you could just acquire a ton of it, you missed it by $1.20. Oh, ouch. Ouch. You could have had so much Bitcoin, like just an unbelievable amount of Bitcoin for that price. So some lucky trader had their orders filled for $101 Bitcoin. Well, this is the luckiest thing I've ever seen. But there's a seller for every buyer, and the poor investor on the other side of the trade took a massive loss on their Bitcoin sale. The fall represented a 99% drop in price, essentially eliminating all value from Bitcoin, bringing it as close to zero that the asset has been since the early days of the asset. It's just the longest candle I've ever seen. Impressive. But yeah, so lesson learned, everybody. If you're going to put your coin for a really low price on an exchange, make sure it's not $100, but $101. Actually, $101.20. So let's go with a cool $102, and you'll be fine. I don't think you'll miss that extra 80 cents you could have picked up there. But moving on here to kind of a fun article, another 10 people who might be Satoshi Nakamoto. And we have Vili Ledenverta. I have no idea. The Finnish professor, one of the first people to be suggested as Satoshi in 2011 due to lack of fevered speculation at the time, which has tainted subsequent attempts to uncover Satoshi. Doesn't make it any more correct, though. So when questioned by the New York's writer, the 31-year-old Helsinki Institute for Information Technology researcher, ooh, that's a long one, explained that he had no crypto knowledge and his C++ programming was rudimentary. You know what this guy kind of reminds me of? Remember that hero from what was that movie with the Joker? You know, no, not Batman. With the comedian Watchmen. He kind of looks like that. I don't remember his particular name, but like the protagonist of Watchmen, who set up the nuclear strikes on each other and stuff like that, so the world could come together. Kind of looks like that guy. Kind of looks like a young version of that guy. Like he could really just like really do some sick martial arts. You know. I don't remember that guy's name. Somebody in the comments will, though. And the next one, Paul LaRue. If LaRue created Bitcoin, Satoshi is the 21st century biggest badass encrypted software creation. Drug smuggling, pharmaceuticals, gun running, nation building, you name it. LaRue had a finger in it, and building Bitcoin would have been well within his grasp and megalomaniacal ambition. But when Satoshi was studiously refining Bitcoin in 2009, LaRue was already dabbling in drug smuggling, gun running, and empire building. It seems unlikely that those opposing pursuits would have been compatible. So Satoshi always came across as humble in his writings, and LaRue was a power-tripping guy who insisted on being called boss. So, yeah, that kind of takes away Craig Wright out of the situation, too. Otherwise, man, I don't know. Gavin Andresen. So Gavin Andresen is the Bitcoin developer Satoshi handed the reins to upon his departure in 2009. He gave him the network keys to Bitcoin when he was left. In fact, Gavin Andresen was the very last person to ever talk to Satoshi. In the last message, Satoshi was saying to Gavin Andresen, hey, I don't like this whole WikiLeaks and whole Silk Road thing. It makes Bitcoin look very bad. Maybe you could like turn this to a positive light or something like that, and, you know, focus on the developers of Bitcoin. And Gavin Andresen said that he had a meeting with the CIA or something like that, the central headquarters, you know. And after that, Satoshi never responded again. So it's been kind of known that Satoshi was a pretty, you know, he was a pretty paranoid guy in a lot of ways, at least in his writings. And so Gavin Andresen was the very last person to apparently talk to him. But if the two were one and the same, this would be pretty much effective way for Satoshi to check out with ever actually never leaving the building. Moreover, according to one stylometry study, if you guys don't know what stylometry is, a study of like your handwriting and how it can connect to you or a specific person, Andresen's writing more closely resembles Satoshi than any other candidate. But in the cons, in 2016, Andresen became the first of many Bitcoiners to be hoodwinked by Craig Wright after venturing to that Wright Satoshi claim checked out. Either Andresen was super gullible or he was playing 4D chess to put further distance between himself and his pseudonym. And then there's Hal Finney, of course, one of the first developers. Hal Finney epitomizes Bitcoin more than any other known person. Finney saw the long-term potential for Bitcoin just like Satoshi and could eloquently elucidate a world in which it reigned supreme. Just to add to the body of evidence, Gavin Andresen isn't the only person whose writing style echoes Satoshi. Writing analysis experts, whatever, claim that Nakamoto and Finney's writings bear the closest resemblance. But for Satoshi to have essentially conversed with himself and transacted with himself in dealing with Finney doesn't really make any sense for a character who went to such lengths to conceal his identity. He would surely be known that Finney would get doxxed as him at some point, and thus it seems illogical for Satoshi to have such an obvious trail of breadcrumbs. And then there's Nick Szabo. Stylometry seems to be an imprecise art, given the number of people who have identified as Satoshi by their writings. Nick Szabo is the third such candidate on the list, but there are way more compelling reasons, because he created BitGold and such and more qualified than pretty much anybody on the list to have created Bitcoin. But Szabo has consistently denied being Satoshi, debunking one such instance in 2014 by writing, "I'm afraid you got it wrong doxing me as Satoshi, but I'm used to it." And then there's Bram Cohen, born in 1975, the year Satoshi cites as his date of birth. Bram Cohen was playing with bits long before Bitcoin. The BitTorrent creator once ran a Usenet site called bitconjurer.org, where he conversed with the creator of Hashcash, which inspired Bitcoin. Cohen's prolific blog posts also slowed to a crawl when Satoshi began to work on Bitcoin, and he had similar interest to Satoshi, writing about hiding one's identity online in 2019 and weighing in on the digital signatures around the time. Cohen's interest in recreational mathematics also make him credible as Satoshi. But Cohen's current project is a green cryptocurrency called Chia that he claims to be an antithesis of Bitcoin and proof of work. It's hard to imagine Cohen dismissing his former work in that manner. And then there's poor Dorian Nakamoto. Aside from sharing the same name as Bitcoin's creator, there's virtually no reason why Dorian Nakamoto should be Satoshi, except for having lived a few blocks away from Hal Finney. If anything, though, this would make it more likely that Hal was Satoshi and borrowed his fellow denizen's name. Dorian may have become the face of Satoshi, but he certainly isn't the brain. Newsweek's article hurt my family. Oh, man. Okay, I went through so much. So Wright really, really wants to be Satoshi and has been LARPing as him since 2016. You can probably recall feeling the same way about one of your superheroes, wishing you could fall asleep and wake up in the body. In your defense, you were 6 at the time, but Wright is a 48-year-old man. Craig and Cons go together like moonshine and mason jars. It's hard to pick a favorite, but James Lopp's lengthy takedown of a man who would be Satoshi is a fine jumping point. And man, he just doesn't look like a Satoshi to me. It just that's the face of like a felon. For sure. Then there's Dave Kleiman, who's been alleged to be part of the Satoshi group, along with a fellow Satoshi claimants Craig Wright and Phil Wilson. The latter two have zero credible proof of building Bitcoin. While Kleiman died in 2013, an avid cryptographer, Kleiman was a member of the mailing list where Satoshi first announced Bitcoin on October 31st, 2008. And he also worked for SDoc, an encryption-focused software company that was developing an unalterable encrypted audit log system. But any documents associating Kleiman with Bitcoin came courtesy of Craig Wright, and thus are almost certainly fake. As a result, there is an absence of credible evidence to suggest that Kleiman created Bitcoin. The fact that Wright has been circling Kleiman's family like a vulture in a bid to claim his share of 1 million Bitcoin is the strongest evidence that Kleiman created Bitcoin and Wright didn't. Had any other member of cryptography mailing list died first, Wright would have surely set his sights on them instead, as part of a long con to extract millions of dollars through legal shenanery. And so, an enduring mystery that may never be solved, but I don't know, maybe one of these days we'll find out. But the thing is do we? I think we kind of do, you know what I mean? But then again, what kind of effect would it have on Bitcoin? If you knew it was any one of these people, you would really look into their backstory. Were they criminals? Were they good people? Was it for a reason, you know? And I think it would kind of mess up the mystery just a little bit. Yet at the same time, of course, we want to know what the mystery is, because after all, we're just human. 272 billion market cap on coin market cap here, $8,593 Bitcoin. So we have gone down a little bit, but we're trading about sideways now. But there are some good changes in some coins. Raven coin still on its way up, 74 cents or 7.4 cents, excuse me, and has been on its way up for quite a while now. Mona coin, interestingly, went through basically a 100% increase, and now it's down to just 20%. So it was up like 50% the last time I looked at it as well. Tron way up as well, interestingly enough, but everything kind of just smoothing out at the moment, and I think we're just sort of getting ready for another explosion. I think every time we test like 9, 10, 11, 12,000, we're always going to see kind of a dip. So I think if we do get to 9,000, we'll go over it the next time, or maybe like 1 or 2 more times we might have to like see a dip, and then we'll go over 9,000, and again it'll repeat itself. So usually kind of a good strategy is to have like some kind of, you know, figure it out for yourself, but have a sell order around 10 and 11 and 12,000, because it's always going to sell. It usually goes over maybe $100, maybe $200, and then it dips again when people are uncertain if it's going to keep going up, and people take the profits. And then when people realize, oh, okay, it tested that a few times and it's good, and then it goes back over. So it's kind of an interesting psychology that we've been going through for a long time in just about any market, to be totally honest. But that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you take my shill link. Only 4 people can get that free hot $10 of Stellar. Don't spend it all in one place. And, you know, if you don't like Stellar, just turn it into Bitcoin or something like that. But, yeah. But make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Like the video. That helps me out a lot. My social media in the description below. Give me a follow on those if you get the opportunity to do so. But hope you guys enjoyed it. And as usual, I'll see you guys next time.